You look at a new car today, highly likely that car is not gonna have a CD player. Don't get me wrong, we started with records, 8-track, tape, CDs, MP3s. Okay, this is gonna be slightly different video for me. The thing is, with all the talk about AI, and I'm hearing people getting concerned about AI, and I can understand the concern, but let's be a part of that conversation, okay? So you leave your comments down below, and I'm just sharing my thoughts as of today about AI. Now, let's admit it, AI is good. It's getting better and better by the day. It's hard to tell some things that's real or fake because of some of the filters. Now, some of it looks like over-processed images. And to some people, that's easy to see. Some people, it's not. But realistically, AI is here to stay, and it is what it is. But do I believe AI is going to kill traditional photography? Let's get into that. So first of all, I think we really need to know what traditional photography is, or what your definition of it is. My idea of today's photography or traditional photography is simple. Now, if you speak to someone like Joe McNally, who's been doing this way much longer than I've probably been alive, his definition may be different. Now, with the different types of photography, you have the wedding photographer, you have the event photography, portrait, all of these different types of photography. At the end of the day, they're all presenting an image to a client or to someone or to post online for whatever reason. But how they obtain those pictures, it will vary differently. The equipment they use. Yes, they have a camera, but some of those portraits will have to have more lighting, a studio, tripods, a long exposure, different types of lens. And to get that from AI, you're asking a computer to do something that a person can do. And we're getting to that point where the computer can do it, hands down. But to me, what's missing is the human interaction. They all provide an image at the end of the day for a specific purpose, but they all do it differently in the sense of the second job that they have. And that second job would be give an experience. Now, don't get me wrong, they all provide an image at the end of the day, but that image is used for a specific purpose. Okay, granted, the same as AI. It provides an image with a specific purpose at the end of the day too. But the difference is with the human photographer, you get an experience. You get the human interaction, as opposed with AI. And this is becoming more and more difficult as time progresses, as AI gets better. Is that you have to have a prompt that you put into AI. If you've not used AI yet, and I say yet, it may be that you're just not aware that you've used it. You have to enter a prompt to the point where you have to tell it what you're looking for. And it's like you're having a conversation with a person. It's how you really have to feed it. And now you have to get more and more specific. Otherwise, you're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, getting a nice product from AI, but it's not going to be what you're looking for. Now, the difference is when you're talking to a photographer, at least one of the two people that's in that conversation is actually trying to have a conversation to come to an understanding, not to just produce something. Now, granted, you already know it can be hard just conversating or communicating with another person already. So now you are really trying to communicate with a set of programs that, hey, I want a sunset image of a girl in a red dress with long hair. You left so many different factors out that you've opened it up for AI to be able to answer those questions for you. Now, you may look up and get what you're looking for, or get something that's better than what you're looking for. That's great. But the thing is, with the photographer is going to ask you, okay, do you have this? Now, before we go there, that same example I just gave you, I have to give a point to the fact that with AI, you just took the budget out for the most part for the model. You took the budget out for the fashion designer to put the right dress on the model, makeup, hair. Quick interruption. If you're liking this video so far, how about liking and subscribing to help me grow this channel? I appreciate it. Now back to this video, okay? Let's go. Can you get AI to capture an event for you? Well, not at the moment, but that's probably just within time. Now, hear me out. What could that look like? Some type of iRobot, a Roomba type robot that actually goes around, sensors on it that won't run into people, you know, similar to like the floor cleaner at, you know, Walmart, Target, or whatever the case may be, that's not operated by a person. And it's going around taking pictures of people. People will have to know to stop and pose for the picture if that's the style of picture you're looking for. Otherwise, that device will only be able to take candid shots. Now, you've also taken out the person out of the event that can actually impact the experience that your client, you know, let me say it this way. You're taking the person out of the event that can have an impact on how the guests can enjoy that event. And I'm saying this based off of the events I've done. I've often got word back that the guests really enjoyed, you know, my presence being there. It actually made them feel like they were a part of it. So with the subtraction of AI, you're taking the human interaction out. Now, having said that, I've often heard that we're in what's called a trust recession, which means people see pictures and videos and they don't know what to trust or what to believe. Right now, a lot of AI images that I see, they're really too polished. They're over polished. Now, you can also argue that some photographers over process their pictures, which from my perspective is true. But the thing is, with people not knowing what to trust, who to trust, I think that if we continue to create images that really represent the person, now granted, you can put lighting on them, you can put the makeup on them, you can do all this other stuff to beauty them, that they can actually redo if they took the time. So when they go visit their client, they actually look like the person that's on that picture. As opposed to, you have this person that's, you know, been airbrushed to the point where they look like they are 20 years younger. And in the back of the mind of the person they're going to see is, okay, they lied to me about this. What else are they going to lie about? When you call, you know, your cell phone company or whatever and speak with someone, that's AI. When you're on social media and someone says, hey, comment grow, and I'll send you my, you know, whatever the case may be, that's AI. So this stuff has really been around a long time, but just called different things. You look at a new car today, highly likely, that car is not gonna have a CD player. Now, don't get me wrong, we started with records, 8 tracks, tapes, CDs, MP3s, digital format, and now we're at the streaming services. So it changes whether you want it to change or not. So my recommendation is find out how you can use AI. I use it a little more than I really want to, but I use it to more so probably save me right now, in the sense of I don't really like grainy pictures. And the funny part about it is that on Lightroom, you actually have AI, which is like a denoise that you can engage, and it will process your image and it'll fill in some of the blanks or voids and or pixels that's missing and improve your picture. Now you can adjust that to the degree that it's doing it at, where for me in my eye, I still use it and try to use it minimalist or minimal or as little as possible. I'm just saying as little as possible so that the pictures still look realistic. So with AI, you have a tendency of seeing people that look different. You can take your picture and put it into, chat and tell it to make your headshot out of, a professional headshot. And it may do a decent job, but it may have you looking like someone else. Now, as far as with the photographer, if they have a little time up under their belt with doing portraits or headshots, they can use a 35mm lens to take a portrait of you, or an 85mm lens. And they know that the 35mm lens is going to not only show more of your background, but if they're too close to you, it's going to make your face look more full than what it actually is. As opposed to if they use an 85mm lens, it will show more accurate of what you look like without the lens distortion. Now, having said that, is one real or one fake? I would say they're both real, but one is more accurate. Now, but again, back to the AI side, again, you have to know how to feed the prompt. And what happens a lot of time is that people end up saying, why are you charging so much for your pictures? All you're doing is hitting a button. Whenever somebody say all you're doing is, that's the first, it could be a little disrespectful, a disregard of your talent, your skills. Two, it could be a way of trying to get you to lower your prices. But three, if that's all you're doing, then it would seem like anybody could do it, right? And we all know that's not the case. Well, truth be told, dealing with AI is going to be that same way. AI is a term that's thrown around so much right now that it's a buzzword right now. It's kind of like entrepreneurship. It's kind of like the buzzwords of gaslighting, quiet quitting, meta. I still don't know what that is. But besides going back and forth with all of that, they all have their highlights or, advantages or disadvantages. It really comes down to licensing. Right now, you can have a logo made for your company, but you can't trademark it. You can't trademark it. You can't trademark it. That's not your intellectual property. So now there's a database that's being created and laws are still trying to catch up with it. I'm concerned that within a year or so, anything that's been used and created with AI will not be totally your intellectual property to do anything with, or to fully sell, or to make money off of it totally, without it being a kickback fee to whatever company you utilize to make it. Case in point, YouTube has a space on it that you have to click if you've used AI to create your video. Now, to what extent that is, I don't know. I look at it as if YouTube is trying to police or help with the misinformation, because you can have I don't want to say the word, but you can make it look like someone is attacking someone or something, if that makes sense. And that could send people into a frenzy. So if you've used some type of software to do that, and you're trying to pass it off as if it's news, well, that can have a negative effect on society. So I can see YouTube in that case trying to curb some things. But at the same time, you just made something that you can't totally claim as if you were in Hollywood and you just created this blockbuster sci-fi or horror movie. Let's be clear, a lot of us got into photography for some type of passion. That was some type of event that we wanted to capture, be it family member or child growing up. And we just grew into the profession. Well, what about the person that's good with AI and they want to start a business, which I think is a legitimate business? They have every right to, of course. They have to learn how to use the software, know which softwares to use, how to speak to the apps. You know, computer coding used to be the buzzword, but now it's AI prompting. And I think AI prompting has really taken its place, you know, computer coding place at this moment. But regardless, at the end of the day is going to end. AI is finding its way in our everyday life, whether we like it or not. So my thoughts are, we have to find out how we can use it for our benefit, as well as still hold the creativity that we initially got into for the passion of it. Computers will never replace people. Well, hold on. Pause. Computers will never totally replace people or the desire for people to interact with other people, as much as people have issues with people. Well, anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. And afterwards, grab your camera and go create. Be great. God bless.